Hello, Self, Cosmos, Ohana. It's Soul Dr. Nick here, and it is March 14th, 2025, Pi Day 314. Day after a full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse. And this is magic mirror work. And so I'm going to trust you instead of trying to push you away and saying, this is not for you. Be like, you're going to choose how you want to spend your valuable time. And if you want to listen to me talk to myself, because magic mirror work is really me looking into the mirror and being with myself. And if this serves you, then fantastic. And if you jump off at any time, fantastic. There's not a purpose to this in that sense. It's not trying to grab your attention and hold on to it. And I give a little bit because I combine the teaching, learning, doing, seeing, reflecting, growing in all different ways. And today I want to talk about the telepathy tapes. I want to talk about the cosmos. I want to talk about, I was going to be on this amazing breath during this time. It's almost 8 a.m. and had to get rescheduled, and just being with all the different sensations. And this morning, it was a challenging morning. Thought I was going to get up and get everything ready, and I was like, my body's like, nope, let's lie down for a bit. Let's feel a little confused. Let's feel a little bit disoriented and discombobulated. And how to start? The part I want to start at actually is I've been listening to a lot of the telepathy tapes. And if you haven't heard it yet, highly recommend it. If I get a chance to, I'll try to put the link down. But looking at these children who are nonverbal, we diagnose them on the autism spectrum, and the fact that they have these extrasensory abilities, and telepathy is just the tip of the iceberg. Whether they're seeing beyond time and space, whether they have precognition, whether they have abilities to detect cancers and diseases in the body, whether they can see auras, whether all these different things. And as I'm listening to it, the way my mind works, and it feels a little bit bad because it's like, am I trying to exploit? I'm like, no, I'm trying to partner with, because what I love is she says, like, these kids are so tuned in with themselves that they know when they're seeking love, because they're here for love. And so what I'm looking at is like, how do I not just help them to survive, but thrive? Because they have super amazing abilities. And how do I actually create containers which are supportive of their gifts? Like, can you imagine creating a health diagnostic team where I have someone like that on a team, but how do I create it in a way where they don't feel overwhelmed with all the dis-ease around them? And how do I trust that they're able to be with themselves, but also realize that they're kids too. They get to be kids too, and develop and play and have fun. And how do you develop in a way where everyone gets to win? Sustainable fair exchange as well, health-wise, play-wise, that it's not like they're a machine, not churning out as much as they can, but rather getting to play with it in a way where it's like, oh, this actually feels good. I'm helping people, I'm serving, I'm supporting, and I'm doing it in a way where I'm not taking stuff on. Because that's the problem with a lot of people in the healing community now. It's like, you must push past this and sacrifice yourself for others. Like, patients first. That was such a benign sounding statement, and it put, including myself, in a state of complete despair, depression, burnout. So taking a look at that, because I love to partner with them, and it's like, I can even imagine having them on breathwork sessions, ceremonies, things like that, where they can actually see, feel, impact the medicine, be part of the container. I can just imagine if those, and then they're like, I'm really good at being part of an energetic container. Yes, totally. And then just imagine I'm putting this in here because I'm excited about it. I don't know what to do about it. And sometimes just saying it out loud can change things. Because part of me is like strategizing. Do I reach out to Kai, the podcast person? Do I just send a message out there? Do I just share? Do I scream? Do I shout? And do I let go of this? Because this is not the immediate plan. Right now, we still have our Ohana Sage, Ohana Breath programs to flesh out, to fill out. And we're going to go there next. Like, it's jumping all over the place. Again, part of me is like, oh, I've got to make it structured for you, but this is magic mirror work, which is for me. And it's a reminder. I'm doing this over and over again to keep reminding myself, how do I get clear on me? How do I do it in a public way? How do I have intimacy, transparency, authenticity, so that my body, mind, soul are aligned? Because when I have that level of certainty, everything changes. And right now for Ohana Sage and Ohana Breath, I see the power of what I'm providing. How do I connect this with what people are already looking for, so I'm not trying to push it onto someone? And that part I'm still missing a little bit, because partly because I haven't fully connected it with someone yet. Whether it's the Ohana breath even, like it's totally accessible. The first time's free, the second time's 19 US, I think it is. And live for sure. We're not having as many people as I'd like to. Like I've loved for a year of growth to have gotten to starting to get rapid exponential growth. And the fact that we're not there yet means that something is missing. Not good or bad. Partly for me, I'm recognizing, I was looking at someone else, like if you supercharge your business with money, often you start throwing money at things that aren't really important. If you go by your bootstraps, there's a part of you that says this is important. Part of what I've had the benefit of is not having that pressure. And part of not having that pressure is I haven't had the pressure to grow this number. And not growing this number means I don't have this critical mass of people spreading, sharing, and how to connect with them. And I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't have the certainty yet. Now, what is lacking in the certainty? I'm on the rooftop right now. I was hoping there would be more sunshine. There was for a bit, and it's getting a little chilly, so we'll see how long I last up here. And then for my bigger program, Ohana Stage, that is like a full-on 5-month immersion, and it's not full-on the way that people are thinking. What I'm really looking at is how do I create such a safe container, such a container for profound change that it's almost inevitable? And how do I connect with the people who have done lots of ceremonial work, who's like, yeah, I've been jumping after ceremony after ceremony after ceremony. I could tell people I've done 250 ayahuasca ceremonies, but I don't have the life that I like to show for it. And I want to turn that on its head. It's like, what if you had the life to show for it, but you can only say I haven't done one ceremony? It's like, that probably is a part of the market piece. Like, what if you can't say you've done something that people are like, oh my God, you've done that, it's so hard. It's like, oh, I've done one ceremony within a 5-month container. And I felt really held, safe, loved, where I felt really good about myself, where I got to walk into it and not feel fear, where I didn't go to the depths of hell. And yet from that place was able to scoop up so much wisdom, learning, change in being that look at my life now. And that's how I'm going to keep going for right now. Not to say that there isn't a benefit the other way. Not to say that there isn't a profound benefit to going through a deep, almost body-breaking, for me that's what it was, ayahuasca journey. Not to say it's not worthwhile to go through a almost psychotic break like I did with my first experience with mushrooms. But now I can actually do it in a way where it feels really good, where it feels comfortable. Where it feels comfortable and uncomfortable, where it feels safe. Safe is a real thing. Comfort and discomfort, it'll keep coming and coming and coming. It doesn't always have to be uncomfortable. But when you feel so safe that you're willing to step into the discomfort that you're ready for the growth that you actually want, how beautiful is that? And partly that's the message to keep getting out there. I'm meeting you where your problems are at. What I'm helping you to realize is the solution doesn't need to be what you think it is. The solution doesn't have to be what everyone else has done that you've seen around you. Oh, I've heard about the ceremony, but man, they look like they were really destroyed with it. Hey, would you like to have that benefit, even more of a benefit, without having to feel destroyed, lost, scared, doing something completely unfamiliar, doing something that feels like it's jumping off the deep end with people you really don't know, and it feels like you're rolling the dice? Because I'd like to have it so you don't feel like you're rolling the dice, where you feel like, oh my God, I'm being held. Now, the part that I do require then is energy, time, commitment, and sustainable fair exchange. And you may look at the sustainable fair exchange and be like, whoa, that's way more than everything else. Awesome. I'm actually inviting us to race towards the top as opposed to race towards the bottom. And that was a concept that was presented by Jamie Wheal about 6 years ago now, when I first saw it. It's like, there's so many people coming online in this space that more and more people are going to say, how do we outbid each other, make it cheaper, more accessible? And for me, I get it. Like, what I've created is not accessible in the same way. And it is accessible for the ones that I'm looking to work with. It is accessible because if you're actually looking to invest this money into you, you know how to make a return on your investment. You've gambled on things that are far more risky before that don't give you anything. And one of the biggest things I see in people is like, oh yeah, I invested $10,000 in this company. I have no idea what it is about, but I'm not willing to invest $10,000 in myself for an almost guaranteed outcome because I know that getting held by really skilled, heart-centered practitioners, it's inevitable really that powerful things will come out of it. And even a 0.1% in my own productivity, inspiration could turn into so much more than $10,000. Oh yeah, okay. Because $10,000 is, let's see here, 10,000 is 0.1% of $1 million. So if you learn how to generate $1 million, $10,000 is really, in a way, a drop. And it's a really important drop. So I'm just contemplating all these ways because one of the things that is frustrating me right now is not having as much work as I'd like to do, as I think I'd like to do. And partly it's because work is play for me. Work is play. I wouldn't be asking for more work if it was work. And that's what I'm noticing right now is I'm creating more work the way I want it to be. And I want these first steps because my bigger visions later on, whether it's trips to Egypt, trips to Peru, having more guided discussions, having more intentional times together, creating communities, creating bigger ideas, and really supercharging these ideas. How do I be clear on the message before I supercharge the idea? And I'm noticing that. And it's a bit of both. So right now I'm taking a look at how do I create the key phrases to juice it up some. But those key phrases, I'm testing it out for myself. Does it feel good? Does it feel in integrity? Does it feel like I'm in alignment? I'm not just trying to overpromise and underdeliver. I'm not trying to bend over backwards to meet someone where they're at in a way that doesn't actually serve them. And also trusting. It's the same as this magic mirror work. Trusting, instead of saying, hey, this is not for you, it's like, hey, you get to choose. It's like watching the telepathy tapes. Like I got to choose, and I chose to watch them initially by falling asleep to them over and over again. I've heard snippets of so many of them, and a lot of it's in my subconscious. And part of it, I think, I want to subconsciously connect with some of these souls because as much as I may want to think, how am I going to reach out to them? They're going to know how to reach out to me better than I can even imagine. And it's going to come in due time. I don't need to rush that. Right now, the focus is, again, my hierarchy of values. Okay, first is my own self, my map of consciousness, everything else, which is a reflection. Last night, I'm glad I got to see the full moon briefly. That was probably, if I wanted to look back and change something, a sign that there's a chance you could actually see the blood red moon, so maybe get up for it. And I didn't. And I would have enjoyed it, and I've seen it before, and I know the energy was there. Put out the crystals already. And then waking up this morning, I was like, I just want to rest, don't want to get up. And yes, good, but also I had multiple chances to get up, and every time I chose to rest again, and probably one of the times would have served to actually get up. And in general, how do I choose to enjoy life more? Like I'm missing a little bit of that spark, I think. And I'm trying to work, and I can notice that was yesterday. I was like, I should be doing stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And I know there are things to do, like cleaning up house in different ways, and I don't want to do it. And then when I'm in that in-between state, not actually resting, taking care of self, not actually doing something productive, not actually playing with my family, not actually consuming something that's enjoyable, that's the in-between state that no longer serves. And that's just even here for anyone who's still watching. This is me, for me, by me. But if you are, how are you stuck in the in-between state? And why am I talking to you this way now? Magic mirror work. I can get lost. I brought up my beautiful little mandarin orange that my mother-in-law got for me. Really grateful for her because she gets the best, juiciest fruit. One of the things I don't like is that most of this stuff comes from China. And I definitely have what do they call it, stereotype, prejudice against Chinese fruits right now because there's a part of me feeling like I can never know what I'm going to get. Is it covered in pesticides? What's going on? And I don't know how to replicate this taste yet, this juiciness, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. I've not seen it replicated in other ones. I don't know how much these cost. It could be $2 each. What I'm glad is I'm asking for what I want now. Yesterday, the one thing that I know I did was I drove my in-laws to an eye appointment with one of my dear friends, Altaz. And he did such great, meticulous work. They felt so cared for that they're recommending him, which is awesome. And I got to see his new clinic, which does look much better. Like, oh my God, it's a very stylish clinic, and I could see people working, and I could see the staff going, and I was feeling good energy and vibe about it. So I'm sending him lots of good vibes and wishing him lots of success, regardless of however he chooses to lead his business, because he has so many possibilities. Why I'm saying that is because he's a man of infinite possibilities, and I'm sending him lots of love to step into his possibilities. I think that's what I'm, in a way, striving to do. That's what I am doing. I'm guiding people to awaken to their own possibilities, and then supporting them to walk through the door. And the support doesn't always have to look like me supporting them, and that's the difference. And that's a huge part of the difference. And part of it as well is, how do I create a team around me where things are flowing, where we don't have as many pain points. And that's one of the things I noticed. How do I create more and more champions? And I already have a few champions I know I could call on. In a pinch, I could call on them. And how do I create more and trust more as well? So that no one person feels like they have to really sacrifice themselves. The breath I was supposed to do this morning with a dear friend, there's a part of me that is sad that we're not doing it. There's a part of me that actually knew. So this is the part of the telepathy precognition. It's like, when I got up, it's like, I know I'm going to get this message. And I wasn't sure if it was, oh, this has happened before, I've had to be rescheduled on, or I just knew. And I'm practicing being with that sensation. And part of it now is being with the sensation when I'm supposed to do something, to actually at least speak to it, like here, and trust that putting it out there is not a bad thing. I remember way back when, and I got the idea for, oh, we should really have iPads on planes as devices, and then WestJet eventually did it. I was like, why didn't I actually do something about that and lead this charge? And part of it was I knew it wasn't for me, but I could have spoken towards it. Like, sometimes these messages, I realize, are coming through me, and I can still say something about it even if I don't want to do something about it. Even this idea of working with people who are nonverbal, I can totally see that for people in my space. I'm hopeful that I get to be one of those, because I can see the power, I can see the possibility, and I won't lie, the strategic part sees the instantaneous branding together. And I'd rather speak in the space and have this happen if it serves them, especially if it serves them, rather than having to be about me, because it's not about me. Part of it right now, and I keep saying this in my purpose, is like, I'm creating what I'm creating not because it depends on me, but because I get to enhance it. And if I'm enhancing it, fantastic. If I'm creating a dependency on me, then notice that. And there'll probably be some pushback from the cosmos going, hey, hold on a second. You're just scared that you're going to get pushed out again. Cool. Can you see that that's always a possibility? And not only is it a possibility, it probably serves you if it does happen, because right now, especially at the level of certainty I have, with a level of heart opening, with a level of clarity, with a level of trust, with a level of relationship building, if somehow I am pushed out, there's probably some love that's happening that I can't even see. It's the same thing when I get the most tickled, that's my word for triggered, by the people I love who are the closest. They're on my team, they love me, and I'm getting tickled because it's bringing to the surface old patterns. And right now I'm trying to create a new pattern for the old pattern of going back to PEI, going back to my home province, going back for my parents' 50th year anniversary this year. How do I create an experience that's slightly different than usual? That is different than usual. How do I create it so I'm spending time at home, spending time away from home, spending time near home, and all those things are complementing each other? How do I create it so that I'm not trying to control everything or just trying to be completely lackadaisical about it? How do I take charge? And that's a part of it too sometimes. It's like having an opinion actually is a wonderful thing, and I can see it more now. My beloved has been, in a way, pushing me, but guiding me towards having an opinion, even on a menu. Like, I remember listening to my dad, him being so proud. He's like, I never have to choose something on the menu. It doesn't matter. And then noticing the response from my mom and going, okay, yes, but sometimes I'd like to actually have an opinion. And then realizing for myself, okay, it is actually nice to sometimes have an opinion, but when I hold it so tightly and strongly, then it's not fun for people to have an opinion. And how do I play with both in all the different areas? And in some areas, if I'm really, really clear, and that was, for example, Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, very clear. And Elon, it sounds like, is better at being able to be redirected by someone else who is even more clear. And that's part of it now, is like, I get to be so clear for my business, especially, that when I am redirected, it's by someone who's even more clear. and creating defaults. So the default is I get to lead. The default is I lead. And when I'm not leading, it's clear that it's great that I'm not leading. And part of it I can look at and it's like, where are the things that I have not led in already? Okay, part of it is how do I learn how to lead a little bit better there? And part of it is let's not have me lead right now because there's so many problems to deal with. And they're not problems, there's so many, I'm trying to use a different word, but I'm noticing it's hurdles, it's something else like that. Just dropping in here, I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. I feel to heal. Everything is a story, the only constant is change, and I always have a choice. And then whatever I have done or I have not done, I'm worthy of love. Dropping in a few affirmations or incantations right now. I love what I do and I do what I love. Wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that crisis is a blessing. Today is going to be a wunderbar day, an awesome day. And just noticing these different parts. Being out here in the cold, so it's probably less than 10 degrees out here. The sunshine is really helping. And there's still frost. And I'm glad I'm out here. I'm glad I'm getting in some of the sunshine. This is what I want. I want some of this light onto my skin receptors. That's part of it. I recorded a little video about light yesterday. I'm going to put some stuff in about diet soon. I'm putting in pieces that remind myself to let go of the paradigms. Over and over I see these headlines like, if you have liver stuff, this doctor says these are the things you must do. I'm like, I get it. I get why you say that because you're meeting people where they're at and what they want. And some of me may do some of that. And someone may say that's deceptive advertising. And I'm like, this is me practicing being where I'm at with what it is. And noticing it's so much easier to judge this is good, this is bad, versus this is the evolution. Each one of us, including myself, is evolving. Like these magic mirror sessions are evolving. If I didn't start posting them right away, I wouldn't. And I love that I saw that from Layla Hormozi today. It's like, she's like, I waited 3 years before I jumped onto the videos. And it's like, I kept putting it off. And I'm realizing I've put it off for several years as well. I kept being told by Yvonne and Lana back when I was with Intronaut even, like, you'd be great on video, great on podcasts. And I kept pushing it off. And this is all I needed to do. But part of it was because I couldn't figure out a formula that worked for me to start. And this is my starting formula. Magic mirror work will keep going until magic mirror work is done in a way or done in a consistent way it needs to be done. I'll speak again today about the financial stuff. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I did put in a couple buy orders for Tesla at a lower price because I truly do believe in what he's doing in terms of a business. Do I actually believe that that's serving humanity? I can't say 100%. But creating the machines that create the machines, not just creating what's there now, but his entrenched moat, which is having the automation, having the integration, having the foresight, having the vision, and having read his story about SpaceX, I can see he's thinking 10 steps ahead. And everyone has still been catching up. And just because he's thinking 10 steps ahead doesn't mean that he's going to be a success, because his 10 steps ahead may be off, and that's okay. Also, SpaceX, would I like to invest in that? Yes. It is part of it, and right now probably taking a look at Shopify too. Taking a look back again at Shopify, because I saw those interviews that Alex had with him and they were good. Like, let's take a look at Shopify's price. And take a look at the leaders of the tech that I believe in. I definitely don't believe as much in Meta anymore, but I am planning to get the Meta glasses because they're a pretty cool piece of tech. Like looking at the lenses, looking at the cameras, looking at the audio. It's pretty neat. I want to try it out. I want to have it, and I'm grateful that it's been gifted to me. And then here, it's just taking a look at all the different things. And I'm looking at the articles, and I've been looking at it for a while, the rot in Apple. And I'm using an Apple device. Right now, it is the most integrated ecosystem I can imagine. But what it could be versus what it is right now, and what it could be I'm looking at is how it could actually just work. And it's true, like when you have all this staff doing all these different things, there could be a clearing the house. But again, what's their main purpose? Right now, is it diversity, equity, inclusion? Is it being able to say that the most profitable, biggest bike company in the world? Is it PR? And then being actually clear about it, being honest about it as well. And then remembering to treat people like people. That's the thing I found, like going to the stores now, for me, it's not the same experience. I don't feel like it has the same shiny look. It doesn't have the same feel. Where do I want to live in Vancouver? I do have a feeling that one of our homes is going to be in this Lower Mainland, but we have an opportunity to rent a home from a dear friend in North Vancouver, and I have a connection with that home. But I think bigger than that connection is just the opportunity to, and reminding myself the opportunities exist. And it's probably time to actually take a look out east a little bit more, even out into Chilliwack, go visit my friend Rich. I have a desire to go out there soonish, to introduce Sage at least, to meet his family. And we'll see what happens. Up here, I'm looking around going, okay, there's a few things I still have to return to Costco. How do I clear out the space and make it even better? Wow, it must have been really windy. The wind blew off the cover of my other couch as well. Really glad I secured this cover a little bit. All right, let's take our time. Let's contemplate our purpose. Let's contemplate our love list. Let's contemplate our DeMartini method, looking at the traits, actions, and inactions. One of the things with the actions is the procrastination, leaving to the last minute, publishing last minute, preparing last minute. That's what I saw, especially in my dad. And not a criticism. I'm saying this because I noticed this in me. There's a part of me that the more important it is almost, the more I gravitate towards preparing last minute and definitely finishing last minute. And part of it for me is doing more of the prep work earlier. So today, starting to do some of the prep work for this breath session with a dear friend, this podcast today, this breath session on the 21st, this upcoming maybe equinox ceremony, this upcoming March 30th event, this upcoming breath event. So all these upcoming things that's starting to do the preparation work, starting to lay some of the groundwork for it. Starting to find the cycles. Starting to listen again more. And that's part of it, having all these earphones. It's actually giving me and reminding me a chance to listen to some music in the background. And then today as well is, how do I be present with my family? Outside of being in the midst of serving, receiving medicine, chatting about things, and being on a podcast. So having multiple stages of the podcast. One is the stage of the talking. One is the stage of the possibly even experiencing some hape or some medicine, and just trusting it. Thanking the partnership that wants to come out, the wholesale things, the essential oils, all the ways that I've worked with people in the past, and then letting it go. In some ways, I've been good at cultivating relationships. In some ways, I've been letting them go. So really, this is turning more into magic mirror work. I'm noticing myself contemplating, but in the contemplation, I'm noticing myself ruminating and having two discussions. One is the one I'm saying with my mouth, and the other I'm saying with my head. And the head one is the one that's a little bit critical. It's saying, oh my God, look at all these relationships that instead of nurturing, you let wither and die. You didn't reply in time. You didn't honor their time. You didn't say something. You let it go. You failed them. I failed them. Look, even in the you, it's deflecting. I failed them. I had a friend who was helping me make bracelets, and I have no idea where he is now. I have a best friend, and we haven't been chatting that much recently. I have so many friends that I haven't been in touch with recently. I have previous mentors that I haven't been in touch with. I have teachers that I haven't been in touch with. I have the person who's helped me create this diet that I haven't been in touch with in over a month. There's a hummingbird around, just making himself known. We had a hummingbird sitting on our feeder for a few minutes the other day, until I forgot that he was there. And I just walked out, barged out to get something from the deck, and he flew away just at the last moment. And I didn't need to do that. But I'd forgotten, I had, in my head right now, I had become careless. And I do become careless sometimes. I do take things for granted. I've been taking it for granted a little bit, my family, and actually really enjoying their time. I've been getting myself focused on what's next. And part of it is going, I'm not creating what's supposed to be created. The clients aren't here yet. People are not seeing what we're trying to create. Why is this? And why is it people who want to support us are not supporting us in the way that I want them to support us? And just noticing all these stories. We're considering lending money to some friends. And neither a borrower or a lender shall I be is one of the phrases I've grown up with. And I'm learning, how do I own and embrace this the way I want to? And I'm speaking to things that are different. What if you die? What is a fair, sustainable, fair exchange? What if this actually isn't a good business deal for me? So just know that to begin with. Like, it's not about the money. And then it is about the money too, because how do we actually honor that? And this is the beginning of something more if we want to. What has us loaning money unless A, we really feel like we want to help them, B, we trust them, C, we see something more with them as well. And it's noticing all those components coming together and noticing how I've created the scenarios for these to have happened, planted the seeds for them to have happened that they feel safe enough to ask. When I was younger, I remember being at my dear friends Mike and Jean Sullivan's place. And one of their friends had started eating a bunch of beets and going vegetarian and thinking so derisively about them, like, oh my God, judging. And it was partly not just me, I think it was my whole family. And now, drinking beet and carrot juice. It's so easy to judge what feels unknown. And I'm just noticing what I used to judge still. First time Trump got elected, just crying. Oh my God, this is a disaster. Not willing to take a look at, how do I feel? What do I see outside of just the news stuff? I never actually listened to him at all. I did watch The Apprentice when I was younger and I wanted to become on it. And I remembered how important it was to actually do at least a little bit of market research. Like, get clear, it's not just an idea, it's not just the strongest leader that wins, but do a little bit of research. What is it that they want? And that's what we actually want right now. How do we do some market research? And that's part of it probably in doing this survey for these clients, former clients, is doing the market research. And I'll plant a couple seeds with my team and then hopefully let them take the lead on what questions are going to serve best. Not knowing what's going to serve best. I'm going to move this tripod over here because it's getting colder and wetter. 30 minutes up here now. I'm going to say that's impressive actually, because it is not a warm day. And this is not something I would have done even probably a few months ago. My vision is getting better. I can't say why that is. Is it because I'm eating more beta carotene and carrots? Is it because I've just started practicing looking out in the distance a little bit more regularly? Is it just life? Is it that I'm actually getting clear with my own vision of life? But whatever it is, I'm grateful. I was going to take that clear sight course and I realized, okay, now is not the time. Now is not the time to jump into another course like that. Now is the time to really integrate what I've already learned and actually start delivering it. I have a desire to deliver, to birth what I want to birth. And then also reminding myself in these moments, even if things turn into what I think is an external success, is to keep reevaluating. Is it the internal success in this moment? And part of me reevaluating right now is noticing, okay, today I did not rest and wake up as well as I would have liked. And what is my body trying to tell me? Okay, something is feeling a little off kilter. What is it? I can't say for sure yet. I did eat a couple pieces of junk yesterday. I had a piece of chocolate and a couple pieces of sugar. I was like, is that what my body's telling me? I practice eating a lot less carbs. Fantastic about that, at least. Some Canada geese. This magic mirror work is magical, though. Some of it, total crap for the viewer, if I was thinking about the viewer. All of it useful for me, because I'm starting to see where I am in my words and in my thoughts and when they're not aligned. And then when I'm off thinking of something else, I'm catching myself, bringing myself back in. And that's what I want, especially if I'm speaking on a stage, is being able to get more and more present. And that's how the magic, the miracles, and the dancing around with the questions, with the answers happens, is when I'm so present that I can catch myself in real time versus, oh shit, I just sputtered off a bunch of stuff. And that's what I'm doing with people when they're on calls with me. I'm like, I practice being a pattern interrupt. Hopefully, because otherwise they'll just keep talking about the same thing they're used to talking about, because we're so used to that. And that's it for me too. I'm talking about things I'm used to talking about, and I'm revealing more than I have before. And I'm letting myself burp and fart and all the things in between. So I'm going to close this up here. I'm going to take this down to my beautiful media room and continue from there and see what kind of growth happens. Ciao for now.